I'm Margaret Ann Windsor, and my father's Edward the Eighth. My mom's Claudia Ruth O'Keefe Windsor, who was Queen of England. 36 when they took my father down with character assassination. Needless to say, he was married to my mom. They were still alive, October the 20th of 86, married to each other. A double was used to marry Wallace Simpson and became the illegal Duke and Duchess of Windsor and took down my father. And when I was born 2 years later, in 1939, I was the legal heir to the British Crown. My father had made arrangements, should he have an heir, the heir would inherit, and it was all legal. This was a takedown of my father because he wouldn't take orders from the Illuminati. He never married Wallace Simpson, a double did. So my own uncle George the Illegal Six, the Illuminati, put him, gave him the monarchy. How's that? Just handed it over to him, Elizabeth. So they're all illegal. Now I wanted to try as much because I'm running out of time again on space on my small phone. I wanted to get this in. This was in an article, and I've got this in here, so I'm not going to bring it out. It's forgotten what. It's in the Troutville paper, small one, or Fincastle. Copy of it. Let me go ahead and bring it out. I think it's Wednesday, November the 26th of 97. Okay. Now then, these would be friends of mine. They are, and I hope they are still alive and well. Okay, they're living, well, they're hunting. They're supposedly over here hunting, but there's more to it than that. They're not far from where I was camped freezing up on the Appalachian Trail. Travel. This is going on down in to see how I'm treated. It has nothing to do if you're the real monarch or not. If you're not wearing your crown and it's been stolen, to hell with you. Excuse me, I hope I didn't break a rule by saying hell. This is where Diana's, this was limos down at the Hotel Roanoke in town. Here in Roanoke is really the expensive one. And, this up here is about the Brits coming to Virginia dressed to kill. This, so they're supporting me. Now, this is about the limos down at the Hotel Roanoke and about, I can't read it here, I put it up before. But telling about Diana, the gowns are being auctioned off and or shown and auctioned off. I paid for all this. Granted, Diana and her family had money before she married, but this is my money that bought all this, and my hell, and the Meghan Markles and all of it, the Harry and his wife, Catherine. That's all money that was stolen, and they're war criminals. Now, I want to get over to this, but this I was just showing how I'm treated like rag doll. I always remember that song by the Four Seasons, Rag Doll. Okay. Now then, let me put this over here. This is my Aunt Georgia O'Keefe. I can't find a picture of my mom. She's the artist. Now, I want to get to this, and then I hope I have enough to get some other things here. I started not to put this up because I know what people do with it. Even they'd have to have the whole background, and then there's people that wouldn't care, and thank goodness there's a lot of people on YouTube that I've heard from who do care. This is in the Atlanta Journal. Now, they wouldn't let, and this is Saturday, October the 26th of 94. I want to insert this. Some of the crimes, like the John Bonet, they actually locked me up. I was put to where I was going on the side of the road, getting raped, didn't have a place to stay. A horrible, I've already told you part of the life, writing the book about mind control. Larry Flint was shot while I was doing the book. I'm flown out there in 83. August 31st, the plane went down with one of the doctors I wrote about. So I'm going to leave it there, and I know it may be confusing if you don't know all of what's on the former tapes and all that, videos and Facebook, but I'm doing the best I can. So anyway, I was locked up again. By the way, these coincide when they've come out in the forest. They made it where I had nowhere to go. So to go to the forest and starve and freeze, and you have no idea what it's like to freeze and walk in the hot sun to try to get enough water just to drink, and not to bathe, to drink during the summers, and to go down where it's snake infested because there's one little water dumping out that I might be able to catch. And if I do, it's down there with mosquitoes all around. And I'm telling you this because there's a lot of times deers had just peed, urinated in the water that I had to drink. Now back to this. This is, I was shut down. I couldn't get a place. They've lied. This whole friggin' thing has been a lie. Okay, this is, I put this up the other day, but I believe it was another one. I'm going to read it, and I know I'm not going to get through, so I hope you bear with me. This is before and after when I ran in the campaign. Of course, living on the trail kind of rough, pulling all of my suitcases, trying to keep it together. You should see trying to get wood for the winter, and then being run by the National Forest because I was dragging wood and tearing down old trees and breaking my back just to try to live so I'd see my children one day. I hope they're alive. That's what's kept me going and paying back the people I owe that have hung in there with me and helped me. Okay, this is 11 years ago. Peggy was among the congressional hopefuls in a race to succeed U.S. Larry McDonald, Republican Larry McDonald, Cobb County conservative, who was killed when the Korean jetliner was shot down over Soviet airspace. Now dubbed Crazy Margaret by the hikers along the Appalachian Trail because I'm telling them who I am and about mind control and all this, and why I'm out there. And half of them knew it, so this is a joke, a sick joke. Childers is in a homeless shelter in Western Virginia, that's in here, Roanoke, ousted last week by a U.S. magistrate from the tent she called home in the National Forest. Well, I was being run up and down and dragging it, and I even had later U.S. Marshal came out there, Robert, that I mentioned. They had no name. He was U.S. Marshal. And here he's out there pulling my suitcase and stuff and helping me with the tent up and down the Salt Pond Road. It's Forestry Road in the National Forest. Now, it leaves you thinking I'm just this crazy nut walking, and I don't appreciate this. And I'm going to try to read these things and get them up because maybe I hope and pray things are over and the truth told. And okay, so now I'm dubbed Crazy Margaret by the hikers along the Appalachian Trail. Well, they're leaving out what the hikers did to me. Folks can't just stay there. These hiker shelters aren't meant for people to set up residential. Well, you shouldn't have stole me from Buckingham Palace, you all. Put me over here in hell. Committed every crime in the book to me. Okay, to set up residential in the forest, Virginia Assistant U.S. Attorney Ken Sorensen, who prosecuted the case. Well, let me remind you, Sorensen's not a familiar name, not used all that much. When they prosecuted this, there was a lady from Sweden, and this gets into the mind control. She was in New York City, and she had put her baby just outside where they were sitting. Someone come and stole the baby. I don't know if she ever got it back or not, but the name was Sorensen, and it fit into at the same time I'm getting prosecuted by Ken Sorensen here in Roanoke in the POF building, and I don't know if they ever found the baby or not, but this is kind of thing going on, fits and patterns. It's the third time Childers, by the way, one of the other times was when John Bonet's parents were, they weren't locked up at the time, but they were being questioned, and there was some kind of, they were in, I can't remember, but the time period, I saw it on the TV from jail cell. Okay? Okay. It's the third time that I had been Miss Childers, medical secretary and unpublished author who says she's really Margaret in Windsor, an heir to the British throne, has been bumped from the federal in 3 years. See, none of this the truth is left out. It's almost like they did to my father. I'll stay here as long as I can, Childers 55 said from the Roanoke Rescue Mission, where she came last Friday. There was another sheet I had up here, and I can't find it now. The bigger problem is Childers claims is a government conspiracy to keep her homeless and cloak her true identity. Well, that's true. Part of it they've left out. That's true about who I am. That's why Larry Flint was attempting to write about when he was that I was writing about when he was shot. Childers said of the Hustler magazine publisher shot and paralyzed during a 1978 obscenity trial in Lawrenceville. Well, that was a bunch of bull, too. His guts were all over by a magnum on the streets. All right, so you can guess. Take a look at what's really going on. The evolution from Canada to park interloper living off of food stamps. When I was lucky to get a very few, and you've got people unwed and have children from different relationships, you should say it really hurts a little bit when you stand there and have their diapers poked in your face. They have rights, I have none. And food stamps? Oh, kiss my grits, fella. I hope you all... I can't. I've got to get the rest of this up. This is sick. Okay, sometimes living off of food stamps and clothesline in a hiker's shelter. You should see these hiker's shelters. The one I stayed in a lot and what I went through in the winter and almost died. It has snakes in them. It has spiders. Besides the hikers that feel free to urinate in front of you and pull their clothes off buck naked in front of you. In fact, Childers quickly stood out from the usual field of candidates, included campaigning to return the country to the gold standard, another emphasizing prohibition, and at least two others are from the mainstream. Well, it was Lon Day that was owner-president of Days Inn Motels, who was kind of a friend to me, but I could never get back in touch with him when all of it went down. He was in the campaign, and so was Buddy Darden, the district attorney of Cobb County, and he was a good man. He won it, and he was kind of a friend. Okay, Flint wrote a glowing editorial praising Childers and kicked in $1,000 contribution. Childers' comment is alleging the former congressional used tax money to spy on and slander American citizens. I don't remember that. I know he's part of the John Birch. Really had to do with the doctor being into... There was murders happened at Piedmont, and I put them all up in the Center for Disease Control. What they were doing, you create an illness or cure it, and then if you create AIDS or Ebola, you send it over to South Africa, which was and still is, I hope, British. And it gives you an in there, and they think you're the good guy if you come in and cure it then. Okay, this sparked the ire of McDonald's widow, Kathy, who was also a candidate. She was also arrested earlier for running a prostitute ring. I've forgotten when that was in the paper, but she was. Okay, now I'm going to read this, and if you don't have the truth, I mean, it makes me look like the scum of the earth. Do I appreciate it? Hell no, I don't. Okay, I don't know if I can read this. It's small. And I think I put this up. So maybe I'll just show it and try to read it. That I have little pink circles around the apples of my cheekbones. Well, yeah, you live out like that and see what you look like. The skin and coal have chipped away at a complexion already marked by age. The deep wrinkles on her forehead. This was another one I think I put up the other day and I can't find. On her forehead looked like the contour maps hikers might use to wander to her makeshift home. Instead of being the truth, they made it like I'm garbage, not around the shelter of Full Heart Knob on the Appalachian Trail near Travel. For at least 10 years she has returned there. Well, off and on, they run me for up and down the trail. See, they leave all this out. And all the in-betweens, trying to find a home, trying to get the law to work for me, only to be shooed, listen to the word, shooed away once authorities find out she is back. And you know what the authorities would tell you? That they're taking care of me, that they knew I was up there, and they come on cue. So the whole thing's a friggin' lie. You might think she is drawn to the shelter because of love for the outdoors. Not so. Well, I love the outdoors. I don't like to freeze when you're up there and there's ice all around you and there's trees falling like rifles going off and you're almost dying. I did this more than once. Everybody knew I was down there. It was either that or on the side of the road with nothing. Okay, I hate it. It's cold, Childers said, still thinking about the hell she went through during a brutal ice storm in early March. As the wind howled, well, actually it was February the 4th till February the 8th when I finally got down. And what kept me alive was God himself, I suppose. The wind howled and frozen rain pelted down on her tent. She nearly died when she tried to get down the trail to town, she says. After braving the storm, she returned to the shelter for one simple reason: I have nowhere else to go. She stayed at the rescue mission Roanoke for a short time, a few years, but was asked to leave when she began upsetting residents with her tales of government conspiracy. The only thing I told was try to tell what had happened to me, writing the book and running in the campaign, and why I was there, because I was shut down. I told the truth. They should have applauded me for it. What happened, I was there more than once, trying to get a place to live, etc., a bath, and run off. Okay, here's what happened that made me leave. I was showing a resident. She was a black young lady, had several kids. She was in the same room with me at the rescue mission. I had the book Were We Controlled by Lincoln Lawrence, which Jack Hartsfield, who I've put up here, he was FBI agent, and he worked as undercover as a reporter. Huntsville Times, New Mexican News, near George O'Keeffe's home in Abiquiu. Okay? He was out in Los Angeles, and he was with Larry Flint, and I put up his letters, signed and posted by him. So I haven't made up anything. I haven't even got to the horror stories yet. Okay, so now they're saying that I'm just this running up and down, leaving out the truth and everything. So anyway, I had been asked to leave because this black young lady, had all these children, wanted to read the book, and when she did, she gave it back to me, and then she went up and complained that I was scaring her. So this is what happened. I'm out, not her. So now then, later, when I was in jail, okay, it ended up, and I could have gotten 6 months there, and it was because Woody, one of the forest rangers, lied to the judge. I didn't know it till later, till Eric Smith told me. He said, told the judge I was throwing rocks at him. He should be put in jail for lying under oath. But anyway, I was out after a month, and okay, in the car that looked like a limo. I've put this up over the years, so I didn't just make anything up. I even put it up a week or so ago, this part. Anyway,